What do you reckon, mister?
Gorgeous. She's awesome so far. Sporty.
Excellent.
Sounds sporty too. Alright, so Jason's gonna be chasing me in my car. What is going on, guys? Bailey, Ethan, Rawson here. Hope you're having a good day or night wherever you are, and welcome to my first video of 2022. I've been extremely busy over the past year or so, finishing off school and obviously starting off a new job, while also on the way to starting something very big for myself, which I will keep you guys updated in a few videos time. And what better way to start off 2022 than with a video I've actually been meaning to make for the past 6 months. And that is a tour of my car. This is my 2001 Mitsubishi TJ Magna Si that I've owned for about 6 months. I bought it for about 3,800 Australian dollars back in August 2021 off a private seller in Gumtree, and it has been an absolutely fantastic vehicle. It is very reliable, it's never let me down, and it's a very sporty driving experience too. I was actually going to make a video tour of it when I first bought the car back in August, but at the location I was filming at, this young couple were abusing each other, fighting and screaming and slamming car doors on each other, so I had to stop filming it. And then after that, it was just obviously a very busy time for me, but now I finally have the time to make this video. I've been meaning to make it for a long time. So anyways, let's get straight into this video. The TJ Magna was released by Mitsubishi Motors Australia in July 2000, and the models consisted of the following: Executive, Advance, Sports, VRX, Verada EI, and Verada XI, I believe it's called. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The model I'm actually reviewing here, as I said earlier in the video, is the SI, which was actually a limited edition model based off the bottom of the range Executive. What I gained over the Executive was these nice alloy wheels. I think they're 16-inch, please correct me if I'm wrong. Body colored mirrors, power windows with automatic driver's side window, and cruise control. The SI also gained the same wing spoiler that was on the sports model, which actually looks really nice in this style of car. It makes it look really sporty. Okay, so now I'm going to be looking at the exterior of this car, which the driver's side is in fantastic condition, looks brand new, while the passenger side still looks pretty nice, but there are a few cosmetic things on there that I will point out when I look at that side. Bear in mind with me, this is my first ever car tour video, so if I don't explain anything well, I apologise. So here we're looking at the front end of the Magna. You have the headlights, which are halogens, along with a little amber indicator right there. And then you have the front grille, which my friends actually call it the bird of prey because of the way it's styled. It actually looks really nice and sporty in my opinion. You have a little chrome Mitsubishi badge here, and then you have the headlights at the other side as well. Going on to the driver's side, we have the nice alloy wheels I showed you earlier. And then here you have the 3.5 litre engine badge here, along with a little amber indicator light and a mud flap down there. And here you have the body coloured side mirrors, which on the Executive they were black, but on the rest of the range I believe they were body coloured throughout all the rest of the range. And then you have the little black and chrome door handle too, along with the frameless windows. It's the rear door, alloy wheels and rear mud flap again. Looking at the rear, you have the tail lights there, which look pretty nice in this car. You again have the little Mitsubishi badge here, Magna, and then you have the V6 SI badge. So yeah, this does show the car as a 3.5 litre V6, along with the nice little wing spoiler on the back, which has a little brake light here. You look very carefully up there. And down here you have a tow hitch, which the annoying thing is that the guy told me that there was going to be a tow ball with this car when he was selling it to me, but I never got the tow hitch with it, so that's a bit disappointing. And throughout the other side, it is pretty much the same as before, except you do have the little antenna here, which is broken. The radio still works, however, which is good, and the little fuel flap here. There are a few cosmetic things in this passenger side of this car that I did mention to you earlier, such as down the bottom, there are a few scratches here caused by the previous owner, because the previous owner apparently was not the best at parking on the side streets, so she did scrape it a few times there. And then, as you can see, this side of the mirror has a crack in it, which was actually apparently caused by the previous owner's grandkids hitting it with something. I don't exactly know what, but yeah, it's a bit of an inconvenience, but I can still see perfectly fine out of it. During the next service of this car, we'll definitely get a quote to get new glass for the mirror, 100%. And you also, again, have more scrapes on the corner of the car, which is again caused by the previous owner, which they did sort of a dodgy touch-up work here with by trying to put house paint on it or something. I mean, it covers it up, but when you look it up close, you can definitely see that it's a dodgy, cheap touch-up job there. So we're now going to be looking at the inside of the car, but first off I'm going to show you the keys. So this is the normal key that you insert into the ignition, and in here you have a little remote which has the lock button on the left, unlock, and then you have the boot release lever. Now the inside is in really nice condition, as you will see in a sec. It looks brand new. Looks brand spanking new. It is a light grey cloth interior with some patterns on it. The interesting story behind the driver's seat though is that apparently there was once a hole in here because the previous owner used to get in this car by essentially putting her hand there and then hopping in afterwards, and it just caused a bit of a hole to appear, but the guy sort of stitched it back together and glued it in, which is why it looks a bit somewhat morphed compared to the rest of the seats. Now this car does come with a nice little surprise, which probably explains why the car looks so new. But first we're going to look at the driver's side door, which you have the door release lever, lock, unlock, and then you have the window controls here. They're all power windows, which I'll test out afterwards. Driver's side window is fully automatic, and the window lock button. So let's get in and start her up for you. You may be looking at the kilometers and wow, it is bloody amazing. And I will tell you the story behind the 99,000 kilometers. So the previous owner of this car was actually an elderly lady who got rid of this car when she was 92 years old, believe it or not. She drove this car for 20 years and not very far. And eventually she just drove it less and less and less. And then when I bought the car in August, it had 96,000 kilometers on it. And even when I first bought the car, I only really drove it to school and back. And these days, my trip to work and back is under a minute because work is literally just down the road from my house. So that explains the very low kilometers in this car. So we're going to quickly start her up for you. Put the key in the ignition. And there she starts first time every time. Really nice engine sound. One thing to note is that the previous owner did replace the muffler in this car because the original one wore out. So respectively, he did replace the muffler with a sports muffler before he sold it. I'm going to give the V6 engine a bit of a rev for you. It sounds very muscular and meaty for a V6, and I really like the way it sounds, especially when you drive on the road. It just has this really nice meaty sound to it. So let's shut the door and give you a proper tour of the interior. The interior of this car looks really, really nice. In fact, for a 2001 car, it actually looks very, very modern looking. And like with the VT Commodore's interior, it's definitely aged a lot better than some of its competitors, such as the Toyota Camry XV20 and the ugly oval interior in the Ford AU Falcon. So firstly, we take a look at the steering wheel. It's hydraulic and it feels very light and it's easy to use. Honk the horn. And here in the instrument cluster, you have this little thing here that resets the little trip thing here. So you hold it in, it resets to 0. I don't actually know what it's called. Please comment down below. As I said, this is my first car tour video, so I'm going to get lots of things incorrect. Taking a closer look at the gauges, you have the speed, rev gauges, oil temperature check, and the fuel gauges. Here you have the light controls here. Which I'll show you some videos what the car looks like a night afterwards. Indicator stalks, so that's left, and down for right. And then here you have the cruise control stalk. To the left of the wheel, if I can get it very carefully, you have the windshield wiper controls. This I think shows the and of course to pull it back for water. On the side here you have the air conditioning vents, the little adjuster for how bright you want your gauges, the illumination in this car to be, and you have the mirror controls. The mirrors are electrically adjusted. I'm also going to demonstrate the window controls to you real quick. So you press it down and the driver's side is fully automatic, but it doesn't do an automatic up, which is annoying. So that's the passenger side window there. So up here you have some sun visors, one without a mirror in it, but the other side has a makeup mirror in it for your passenger. It's kind of annoying how there isn't one for the driver. Look in the mirror, who do you see? Hi. And behind me, you might notice there's some wiring work, and that's because I have a Blackview dash cam installed in my car that I only put in very recently, actually. I was going to make an unboxing and review on it, but as I said, I didn't have any time to make it, and it was kind of a rush. What we sort of did was that for the front wire, it was a bit of a DIY job, worked out really well. For the front camera, we put the wiring up in the roof lining here, all the way down, as you can see, through the driver's door, down through the footwell, into the cigarette lighter. I'm going to hardwire it eventually, but it's not my list of priorities. And for the rear dash cam, we sort of did a similar thing. We put it in the roof line and put it all the way through the pillars to the rear window there. Looking at the dash, we have the little trip computer thing, which you have the buttons for it here, along with the little speed alarm adjustments to set speed, 95, 100, whatever. I have it set to 100 just because why not. There you have the air vents there and hazard lights. Air conditioning controls there. There's the chill button, and that's the heater. Obviously your temperature adjustment and your rest of your adjustments there. One little issue with the air conditioner is that sometimes foam does come out the vents along with dust, so I'm going to get that looked at. Down here you have the original AM FM radio. This is a single DIN radio. It still sounds pretty good, actually. Just turn it down because of copyright. You also have CD controls as well, and you can also plug an AUX cord into it as well. Here you have a 12-volt socket, which came with a cigarette lighter, but I've since removed it because I don't have any use for it because I don't smoke. And then you have an ashtray in here, which I just use for storage to place my AUX cords and stuff in it. Ugh. Sorry, it's a bit of a pain in the ass of the cord. Here you have some cup holders there. And then you have the gear shifter. This is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Park, reverse, neutral, drive, 3 to L. Emergency handbrake. And here you have some more storage there. I did forget to mention that there is door pockets in the doors as well, but they can't really fit anything in them, which is a bit annoying. You have a glove box here, which just has crap in it, and then you have the glove box, which just has, as you can see, it's got a lot of crap in it. But yeah, it's pretty decently sized. It's not the world's biggest glove box, but it's doable to fit some small things in it. And here are your sort of seat controls there, along with your fuel lever, your accelerator and brake pedals, and your engine release lever, which we'll look at the engine afterwards before we take this car for a drive. So now let's take a look at the rear of this car and see what it's like. In the rear door, you just again have a pretty basic, a little door lock, door release lever, power windows. So let's hop in and see what it's like. Now, sitting in the back, I am 5'11", and the seat is adjusted to my driving position, and I've got plenty of leg room. It is really comfortable. Toe room is very, very large. Like, look at that. It's pretty good. However, headroom is a little bit tight for me, so I would not recommend sitting back here if you're a taller passenger. So this is a bit of a look of the dash from the back seats. Very nice. Up here you have an interior light, which I actually did replace the original globe with an LED because the original one was dead when I bought it. And it does actually modernize the look of the interior a little bit, in my personal opinion. Here you have your seat belt. One thing I did forget to mention with the front seat belt is that it is height adjustable. Yeah, see, I'm forgetting to mention a lot of things, guys. Please forgive me with that. You have some mat pockets here in the back of the seat as well. And you also have a nice little center armrest, which you just pull out using this, with some cup holders there and a little trapdoor to access the boot. Or trunk, as you American viewers might call it. Here I believe this is a little child seat restraint, I believe. There's my rear dash cam there. A few minor things that are a bit annoying to me is that there are no rear air vents in the back, but these were introduced in later facelifts of the Magna. And the little grab handles, they're nice to hang on, but they're not closing onto soft things. That's a little bit cheap on Mitsubishi's part, in my personal opinion. But yeah, it's pretty comfortable back here. Aside from the lack of headroom for me, this is a really comfortable back seat. And a lot of my friends comment on how comfortable this car is, which is pretty good. Alrighty, now let's take a look at the boot and see how much space we have in it. So to open the boot of the car, you can either hold the little silver key that I showed you in the remote earlier, or you can access using the glove box, which is what I'm going to do here. So you open the glove box and hold this button. You can hear the boot opening there, if you could hear that on camera. Excuse, I've got stuff in here, but just remove that. Nah, so just keep it there. Yeah, the boot is pretty big for a mid-size sedan. You can fit plenty of things in here. And then you have this little trap door here, which I'd rather be able to fold the seats down, but some people like the trap doors, and that's fine with me. You have a little halogen light up there, which I will probably put an LED in there eventually just to make it a bit brighter. And if you lift this underneath here, you have the spare tyre. Oh, so there's a spare tyre there. It looks pretty dirty, but I don't think it's ever been used, which is good. Alrighty, let's now take a look at the engine of this car. Underneath the bonnet, you have Mitsubishi's absolutely bulletproof 3.5 litre V6 with 155 kilowatts of power and 316 newton meters of torque. In my opinion, this is probably one of the most reliable engines that's ever come out of an Australian built car. Because my cousin actually used to have a Mitsubishi TJ Magna himself in this same colour, ironically, except his was a station wagon. And he owned it for about 10 years and he drove it to about 300,000 kilometres. Then he sold it to a couple who apparently used it to drive around Australia, and it's never let them down. And apparently recently it's been sold again. It's still going. So if you look after these cars well, they will last you a very long time. Okay, it's almost 20 to 9, and I figured before we get to the POV driving video, I might as well show you guys what the car looks like at night, inside and out, with all the lights on. So this is obviously the normal headlights and the high beams turned on. This is what it looks like up close. It is quite warm, so I'm not going to obviously film for that too long. This is kind of an example how bright it is. It's shining onto our VE Commodore. And obviously there's the indicator lights. Let's go look through the side profile. The white looks quite nice. It's easy to see at night, obviously not that visible on camera unless I turn the exposure up. There we go. Little side indicator light there. And obviously it's also showing the indicator at the back along with the little the tail light sort of glowing, as you can see. Number plate light. Let's take a look at the inside of the car, see what it looks like from inside. Obviously there's my little LED light that I installed, shining very nicely, a lot brighter than what the original light would have been. And we'll just wait till the light turns off and then we'll give a view of what the colour scheme is like for the interior lights. I don't know if you can see it very well from here, but the lights are now turned off from inside, and the colour of the instrument clusters, they're supposed to be white and they look white on camera, but in real life it kind of looks more like a sort of washed out yellow sort of colour. But down here in the gears, it's all green. And on the dash, it's kind of like a yellowish sort of colour. Okay, so now I'm going to be taking this car for a drive just to give you guys a bit of an idea of what it's like to drive and give you my review on what it's like. So let's go. So what is this car like to drive? Well, it is very, very smooth. The engine has a really nice meaty sound to it, as you can hear. And the gear shifts are actually really smooth most times, except if you're driving a little bit faster, it can get a bit clunky at times, but I guess it is normal. It is a 4-speed transmission and it's an old car. But yeah, this car is really nice to drive. I've never had an issue with it mechanically. You do feel some bumps because of the sportier suspension, but most of the time it is very, very smooth in most Australian, considering the harsh roads that we have here in Australia. I won't be talking an awful lot throughout this POV driving experience because I do want you guys to get a bit of the sound of what the engine sounds like, but I will probably say a few things here and there. But anyway, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the driving experience. I won't be doing any ridiculous highway driving or anything like this, like most POV drivers do. I just want this to be sort of like a little quick sort of city drive, kind of sort of drive around town, that sort of thing. The road noise in this car is actually really, really good. Like, there barely is any road noise, as you can probably hear from inside the cabin when you have the windows shut. But the sounds that you do hear is obviously the mischievous, muscular sounding V6 engine. That's also partially because that there is a sports muffler in the back, so it has made it somewhat louder to an extent. But I actually don't mind that because it kind of gives off the sporty character that this car deserves to have, with the way it drives and the way it accelerates and everything. So for a front wheel drive car, it's actually a very thrilling driving experience because I've driven lots of other front-wheel drive cars before, like a Yaris and like hatchbacks and all that, and you can just tell they're front-wheel drive cars. Like, they just don't have that real thrill when you accelerate. But this car feels very different to other front-wheel drive cars I've driven. It's just really, really nice driving experience. It's smooth, accelerates really well, and it always gives off a bit of a thrill, which is good. No matter how fast you're accelerating, it's just really nice. And the roadwork there, finally. I can drive normally again. I could just really feel the bumps just now. It is quite a bumpy road. Portrush Road can be quite bumpy at times. I'm just going to show you how this car goes along bumps because one thing about the Magna that I'm not the world's biggest fan of, some people like that, others don't, like me for example, is that this car does ride noticeably low to the ground compared to competitors like the Commodore and the Camry and all that. So when you go through bumps, you have to go extremely slowly to stop you from scraping. And the low riding is also an inconvenience when I go to my mate's house, at some of my friends' house, because some of my friends have very hilly driveways, and reversing out of those, I have scraped the bottom of this car a few times just because of how low it rides to the ground. And therefore I just find that a little bit of an inconvenience and a bit annoying, because I'm always like afraid that I'll break something or whatever, so it's just not really the ideal thing. But when you slow down though, this car goes over the bumps really well, and at least goes over the bumps quite smoothly, which is a good thing. Obviously drive very slowly around here because this is a school around here. It's actually the primary school I used to go to as a kid. Turn right here. We'll go back onto the main road and we'll pull over somewhere and end the video there. Over here. Well, that concludes my video tour of my 2001 Mitsubishi TJ Magna Si. Overall, what do I think of this car after owning for 6 months? It is an absolutely brilliant car. It is very reliable and has never let me down, and it provides me a very sporty driving experience. Who would I recommend the Magna to? I would recommend this car for anybody who is looking for a nice first car that is sporty, reliable, and mechanically won't let you down. And even I recommend this for a family, because this is a very spacious car, and if you get the station wagon model, it has quite a lot of boot space. Well, anyway guys, hope you enjoyed that. I do apologise if I've gotten anything wrong in this, because this is my first car tour video. But if you want me to make more car tour videos, just comment down below, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you can. This is Bailey Ethan Rawson, signing out. The TJ Magna was released by Mitsubishi